Right, now we're caffeinated. We're ready to talk about hockey for the first time in like 4 days. And we will kind of we'll just get into the scores from last night. Obviously, I haven't made one of these videos in like 3 or 4 days. I've been out of town visiting some family. Those who haven't seen one of my videos, I got out of the Air Force almost 1 week ago today. So I'm technically now unemployed, which kind of sounds weird, but got a little time on my hands before school starts. So I wanted to make sure I was able to go and see some folks. But I want to stay as consistent as possible with this board, at least until the end of the regular season. We'll talk about the playoffs every day too. And then I need, this has been so much fun. I want to see if I can maybe get into some baseball or something else to keep us busy until next hockey season starts. But without too much more hesitation, we will get into the 7 games from last night. We'll move around whatever we need to move around. And then we will discuss kind of what's happened over the last 4 or 5 days as far as who's hot, who's not, and how teams are trending. But yesterday, 7 games. The Minnesota Wild, which I don't know, I have not moved anything around, so this could definitely change. But the Wild and the Red Wings. Wild ended up getting the 5-4 victory in regulation. The Red Wings were kind of caught in that 3 to 4 way tie here for like the last couple weeks. The Red Wings cannot continue to drop games, especially to teams that are ahead of them in the standings. Like, they are looking like the weaker of those 4, in my opinion. I mean, they'll get a big win, and the next thing you know, they drop like 3 or 4, and it's just the wrong time of the year to be doing that. But the Wild doing wild things. They have a great roster. They have great young players. They can make some noise in the postseason. I'm excited for them. I really am. Next, we have the Penguins and the Panthers. Pittsburgh got the 5-2 victory over Florida, who at this point, I would be very surprised if they're not mathematically eliminated. Yeah, Florida Panthers, man. Mention it in every video, but they won the last 2 cups. They've represented the Eastern Conference in the last 3 years, and they just don't have it. I mean, I think they could retool and get back at it next year, but it kind of wasn't pretty, and it was definitely the biggest disappointment. If you look forward, it's the biggest disappointment by far. I mean, followed closely by Toronto, but next huge game here, guys. Bruins and Flyers. 2 teams kind of in that Eastern Conference race, as I mentioned. Flyers got a overtime victory over the Bruins, so they only gained 1 point over Boston, but 2 valuable points in the big scheme of that entire race. So hopefully, I mean, the Flyers have been steady trucking. I don't know what's happened over the last couple days, but that was a good one for them. Ottawa and Carolina. Ottawa's in the thick of that as well. So they got a much-needed win over the Metropolitan leading Carolina Hurricanes, 6-3. So the Senators are keeping up with the Flyers at the very least. 5th game of the day. This is interesting as a Buffalo fan. The Canadians were the hottest team in hockey. I looked it up. Like, they had won 6 or 8 games in a row. Dude, the Devils are not that great of a team. I mean, at least as far as wins and losses are concerned, over the course of the season, they're not a great team, but they got a 3-0 victory over Montreal, who was looking like they were going to make a push towards at least a second place spot in the Atlantic, if not trying to win that division. They just caught fire, but they lost. They got shut out. Another interesting game here. This is very interesting to me. So the Washington Capitals and the Rangers. I, of course, checked on the standings here and there just to kind of see what was happening over the last day or two. It was Washington was winning big games, and I was like, man, they got to be right in the thick of things. When I get back home, it's going to be really interesting. Is that going to be a 5-team race now? But they played against the Rangers, who are the worst team in the East. And in a must-win situation, the Capitals, a team that I have come on here and said, they're a scrappy team. I wouldn't want to play them in the playoffs. Lost 8-1. They gave up 8 goals to the New York Rangers. So hockey's a weird sport, man. That's why we love it. It's super unpredictable at times, and it's such a momentum-based game. Man, looking on paper, if I would have bet the game, I could have seen it happening. because like usually the teams I bet on like to lose, but 8-1 is crazy. And then lastly, we've got the Blues, who, if they're not out, were awfully close to not being able to make it. Had to have been a must-win game. They played against Colorado, the best team in the NHL, and they got a 3-2 regulation win over the Colorado Avalanche, who are probably going to win the President's Trophy. So good for the Blues. That'll be interesting, like seeing how much stuff has moved in the amount of time. It might have moved so much that it's right back in this place that it started, but let's go ahead and see what we got here. We'll start with the division leaders. Of course, this is the wild card standings, guys. If this doesn't make sense to you, we have our 4 divisions here. As you know, the top 3 in every division make the playoffs. Then the remaining 2 highest seeded teams in the wild card for each conference will be the final 2, which we have up here. These are our wild card teams, and the rest of the Western Conference teams, rest of the Eastern Conference teams. We got the Eastern Conference division leaders here, kind of sectioned off, and then Western Conference. So we'll start with the Pacific. So interestingly enough, Anaheim's lost 5 games in a row. The wrong time of the year to be doing that. So we do have we got some movement here. And in fact, only 1 point separates all of these teams. Edmonton's tied with Anaheim for 87 points in the lead. ESPN has Edmonton designated as the division leader. I don't know what the tiebreaker criteria would be, but we're going to go ahead and reflect that on the board. Not only that, but it's kind of fun. Edmonton got hot. Anaheim did not. And it's weird, man, because Anaheim definitely cannot be losing 5 games in a row, man. This late in the season, that is not what you want to be doing. The division that's not going to be doing too much moving, but you know what? We got some teams closing the gaps here. That's kind of cool. We got Colorado's at 110 points. We have an 8-point lead over Dallas, who used to have about an 8-point lead over Minnesota. We got 110, 102, and 100. Minnesota is now in that 100-point club. I believe they are, oh, wow. They're like the 7th team to break that threshold. So that's cool. Good for Minnesota, but they're only really 1 point away, or 1 win away from being able to host that potential series with Dallas in the first round. Having home ice would be key in the West, or at least in the Central Division. All right. Metropolitan. We have Carolina with 104 points. We have Pittsburgh with 96 points. And we have, this is cool, guys. This team was all the way over here 5 days ago. 5 days ago when I made this last video. Philadelphia was here. This is how much things have changed. Take them off. They're not 3rd in the wild card anymore. They're 3rd in their division. They are a team that got hot at the right time of the year. And that's super impressive to me. So they're all the way over here in 3rd place of the Metropolitan Division. And I'll have to see like wins and losses, but I mean, man, to get that hot this time of the year and go from, I mean, we're talking they're down here by like New Jersey and stuff, and just claw their way over to the 3rd place in their division with only a few games left in the season, man. That's cool. That's what we like to see. And then over here we've got the Atlantic Division. My Buffalo Sabres were leading that for a couple weeks. Everyone was getting super excited. But we had played an extra game than Tampa, and eventually, you know, the wheels haven't fallen off. I don't want to be too negative, but I can definitely tell you that we have cooled down. We played Tampa today, so this is a huge game. But Tampa is in the lead with 102 points. Yep, 102 points. Then it's got us with 100, and Montreal also has 100. So not only could we find our way out of the division lead, but we could also end up not even hosting a playoff series. So the East is murderer's row. A lot of really good teams there. There's no really easy matchups as far as I can see for any team for that matter. I mean, look how many upsets there were last night. But we'll go ahead and get over into the Western Conference wildcard standings. So, Utah still leading with 86 points. We then have Nashville and LA Kings are tied with 81 points. It has Nashville with the lead though. So the West is super up and down too. Like I've seen all these teams kind of like pushing their way towards the top. LA, then San Jose. San Jose falls down a spot in this whole thing. I think they are 2 points out, guys. LA and Nashville, like I said, tied. San Jose, 79 points, 2 points out. Then St. Louis. Wow, this has changed a lot, dude. That one yesterday against the Avalanche really helped them. Pretty sure Seattle's down here. They've lost a bunch of games. Man, St. Louis. Fire Sale Blues. All the way up to third team out. They're only 3 points out of a playoff spot, guys. That's incredible. They're tied with Winnipeg. Then Seattle. Okay, let's back up. 79 for San Jose, 78 for St. Louis and the Jets, and then 75 for Seattle, 72 for Calgary, and then 70 for Chicago, 52 points for Vancouver. Bottom two teams have been mathematically eliminated. Seattle's fallen from grace for sure. They've lost 4 in a row. They're 2-6-2 in their last 10. So definitely trending in the wrong direction in that. But St. Louis 6-4 or 6-2-2. They've had the opportunity to catch up. I mean, we've got 6-7 games left, so that was not on purpose. I hate that shit. Eastern Conference wild card. Bam. What is going on with the Columbus Blue Jackets, guys? What in the hell happened to them over the course of the time? Whatever happened to the Philadelphia Flyers happened equally and opposite to the Columbus Blue Jackets because they have fallen from grace. Looks like we got Boston with 95 points at the top, then Ottawa with 90 points. So Ottawa jumped over here. We're just going to leave them off to the side. I'm pretty sure they have fallen many places. First team out, the Islanders. 1 point out. Then Detroit with 88. Then Columbus tied with Detroit with 88. So essentially the Columbus Blue Jackets swapped places with the Flyers. I mean, I know I got them from over there, but the Columbus Blue Jackets are playing in this hemisphere of the board basically ever since we moved everything over to reflect the wildcard standings. Washington with 87. They needed that win last night, and they could have not had an easier on-paper matchup than the lowly Rangers, and they got blown out. New Jersey's got 83. Guys, New Jersey's 7 points out. They're 6-3-1 over their last 10. If they win, I don't know. They've only got 5 games left. They're done. They're cooked. But, I mean, it's cool if they're beating up on higher ranking teams. New Jersey's got 83 points. And then Toronto, 78. Florida, 77. New York Rangers, 75. And all 3 of those teams are mathematically eliminated. Teams are eliminated. But it's interesting. See, the New Jersey Devils aren't like that great of a team, or maybe they're a little bit disappointing. Dude, 83 points, that low in the standings. Where would 83 points get you in the West? 83 points in the West? You're up here, dude. That's how bad the Western Conference is. Specifically, the Pacific Division. Teams, I really don't know. Just every other division just beat the shit out of the Pacific Division. It's like, dude, they need to have more division games or something, man, to like make those races a little more equal. because the New Jersey Devils are at basically the basement of the East. I mean, you got a bunch of teams mathematically eliminated, then the New Jersey Devils with 83 points. If they're in the Western Conference, they're like very much alive in the Pacific Division race, and they would have a wild card spot. That's how ass backwards the NHL playoff format is. I mean, you don't want a bunch of East teams in the Stanley Cup playoffs and no teams in the West. Like, I'm not saying that, but you've got to find a way to at least get your best teams on paper, standing-wise, to reflect who you're going to put in the postseason. I don't know if that means you need to alter the schedule for the regular season, have the teams play within that division a little bit more so the wins and losses are actually dispersed within the division rather than one division just getting their asses beat down on a nightly basis, which you've seen that all year. Memes about it. Like 4 and 5 Pacific Division teams getting like shut out by teams across the league every night. And what's crazy is that one of those Pacific Division teams that's all lowly and horrible in the regular season could end up winning like a Game 7 against like Colorado or Dallas in the Western Conference Finals and representing the Western Conference in the Stanley Cup. So you never know what happens in the postseason, but I like to bitch about it, so I will. But from there, let's see what we got going on as far as games for today. 4 games. Oh, pretty big, actually. Actually, some huge games today, guys. We need to watch some hockey today. NHL Network game, 4 p.m. Arizona time. We got Lightning and Sabres. That's going to be pretty much for the division lead there. And if you did not watch the last time they played each other, there was it was 7-8-7, I think. 15 goals. There was 102 total penalty minutes. Like, they just dropped the gloves every other minute. It was one of the most entertaining regular season hockey games that I've seen in several years. It was amazing. And, of course, the Sabres were able to get the win, so that was cool, too. The Kraken and the Jets. I mean, big matchup here, guys. This may as well be an elimination game. Like, we don't have too many games. You can't afford to drop points to teams that are in the same wildcard race as you. So, another huge game here on ESPN Plus, 4:30 Arizona time. We got the Blackhawks and the Sharks. Blackhawks are out of it, but the Sharks very much in it. Need to get points. Sharks need the points, guys. And then maybe the second most important game of the day is we got these two teams that are tied in the standings. They both have 81 points, trying to get that final wildcard spot. If one team makes it, one team doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, if it comes down to a point or two, by the time we've played all 82 games, they might look back at this day and say, hey, the Kings were able to get it done in that head-to-head matchup, or Nashville was able to take care of business. You know, it's like it could come down to that. This is a huge point swing. So Predators and Kings on ESPN Plus, 7:30 Arizona time. That'll be a good one. And then we kind of touched on a lot of stuff, and I talk in circles, guys. I'm sorry. If you watch the whole video, man, you're a saint, because I'm not an expert at this. I've never claimed to be one. But I'm just passionate about this, and this gives me something to do every morning. So for those of you that do watch, I appreciate it. But I'd like to do a thing for who's hot and who's not. And just looking over the Eastern Conference, no huge winning streaks to speak of. I will say Carolina, 7-3 in their last 10. Philly, 7-3 in their last 10. That's how Philly got from the depths of the wild card over into their division race. Montreal, 8-2 in their last 10, and I believe that included 8 wins in a row. I could be wrong. They did lose yesterday. They got shut out, but 8-2 in their last 10, making them the hottest team in the Eastern Conference. The coldest teams in the Eastern Conference, both in that wild card race. We got the New York Islanders have lost 4 in a row. They are 3-7 in their last 10, and then Columbus has lost 6. Columbus has lost 6 games in a row, guys. 3-6-1. So those are the hot and nots of the East. I mean, honorable mention here, man. Boston created such a cushion in that wild card, and they're still holding on to it. But they've lost 3 games in a row. So Boston, honorable mention, 3 games in a row. They still have a 5-point cushion on the Senators, but still trending in the wrong direction. In the West, coldest teams, Seattle has lost 4 in a row and are trying to lose themselves out of any hope of getting a wild card. I mean, it's just, you can't do it. 2-6-2 over their last 10. Only team colder than them is the Anaheim Ducks, who have seemingly lost their division lead over here. They have lost 5 games in a row. So, hot teams, got quite a few that have won 3 in a row. We got Minnesota Wild won 3. Vegas Golden Knights, I hate to say it because I hate that team. They have won 3 in a row with that new coach. So, maybe just a little culture shift behind the scenes over there. I don't know who they played, who they beat, but, winning 3 in a row. Good for them. Utah, the Nemesis, my old team, the team I grew up watching, the Arizona Coyotes, then the Phoenix Coyotes, now the Utah Mammoth. Absolutely hate them. They've won 3 in a row, and they're got a pretty firm grasp on that wild card, that number 1 wild card spot in the West. So, yeah. We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens tonight. It's super important games. Then we got a major slate of games on Tuesday. Cool. Anyway, all right. That's enough for me for today. But yeah, watch hockey, guys. Watch hockey tonight. These are some of the best regular season games you're going to watch all year is going to be today. We got Western Conference wildcard race game. We got these 2 teams. It's huge, huge. We're going to be moving stuff around the board tomorrow because we have huge games today. So make sure, hey, ESPN Plus, if you don't have ESPN Plus, you know of other ways. You know of other ways to get these games. Make it happen. Watch hockey. It's good for you.